Hey friends, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had an opportunity to listen to the first vlog or series dedicated to Rare Disease Day on February 28th of this year. Hope you've had the opportunity to just like, share, comment, drop me a blue heart, but support in any way you feel is needed. Because that's all that matters. So as we continue to talk about, what has helped me through my positive mindset and what has helped me on my continuous journey of living with Behçet's disease. Today I want to talk a little bit about my mental and how I've learned to motivate my mental. So sharing a little bit of the past. So in my past, prior to being diagnosed with Behçet's, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression due to things that I dealt with in my childhood and not knowing how to deal with them as an adult. However, being diagnosed with an illness such as Behçet's and learning about it and realizing how scary it is, there was a part of my life where fear would take over before prayer did. That I was so afraid of dying that I lived life in fear. I lived life in fear, not knowing if I would make it to the next day, not knowing if I would be able to live a normal life like others, not knowing if I would be able to provide for myself and my family. For years, fear, anxiety, and depression took over, even when I looked like nothing was wrong. When I was the happiest person you would see at any given time, when I was in charge of my career and growing on all areas of life, fear was taking over. Anxiety had started ruling my world. To the point where I was, extremely secluded, and wouldn't party, wouldn't go out with friends, stay to myself, would say no to functions if I had to drive to an area that I wasn't comfortable with. Anxiety took over. It took over my relationships, my ability to speak up for myself. And I just accepted things for what they were and what they did. And then I got to a point in my life where I realized that I couldn't allow the anxiety to stress me out as much as it was. That I had to continuously remind myself that living in fear isn't going to make the illness go away. Living in fear was only allowing the illness to continue to take over and take control of me. That I need to figure out ways that even during the times where my mental is at its worst, that I need to know how to say I need help. And I still work on that today, but I've come a long way. So when you think of motivating your mental, I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that I have with Behçet's disorder and my mental. So one of the things we talk about often with autoimmune disorders is feeling as though your thoughts are in a black hole. So they go in a black hole and you have lapses in time that you don't remember. So seriously, it's just like the beginning of the sentence and the end of the sentence. So you may have the beginning of the sentence here and the end of the sentence there, but you can't figure out what's there. And that's challenging. That's the black hole, that you start something, but you really can't figure what the next step is to get you there, even though you know where there should be. And I know a lot of people deal with it where we say, oh, when you get older, you walk in a room and you're like, well, imagine that being a constant in your life. So, black hole, short-term memory loss, whatever you want to call it, it's a challenge when it's a constant, when you can't get past it, when you can't figure things out. So, you know, for years, I had short-term memory loss to the point where sometimes I couldn't even remember to write down a sentence and figure things out. And I was really struggling with that. And I remember my doctor telling me that most likely Behçet's was starting to attack parts of my brain where they couldn't figure it out. Nothing was going to show up because that's another story. They couldn't figure it out. So they had to just treat me for the symptoms. And even though they treat me for the symptoms, I still go through periods where if I allow myself to do too much, where I'm multitasking and trying to satisfy myself and everybody else and things they give me to do, that I get to a point where I just mentally stop. That I get so discouraged and so frustrated with myself that I can't connect any dots. So that black hole becomes bigger, and the bigger it gets, the more frustrated I become. And I become extremely irritated and challenged with the fact that I can't figure out what the hell is wrong with me. And I'm irritated with the fact that no one around me understand that I can't figure it out. And I'm on edge with everything I need to do. And that triggers me being more tired. That triggers me not being able to function like I usually function. That triggers my attitude and how I deal with others. And it isn't the best place to be. So I've had to truly work on ways to help me not be in that place too much, because it still happens. But what are ways that I can help my mental and my anxiety so that I'm learning how to calm myself down? And I've tried a couple of things, and I love them all. They helped a little bit. Burning sage has helped me tremendously. Burning eucalyptus and different candles to help relax me has helped tremendously. Having bath shower bombs that have eucalyptus and mint in it has helped me tremendously. But one thing that has helped me a lot was staying focused and really allowing my mind the opportunity to just relax is cutting down on the amount of TV I watch. So about 8-9 months ago, I started not turning on the TV in the morning and really not turning on the TV until I'm going to bed at night. Sometimes I turn it on to watch the news periodically, but definitely not turning on the TV in the morning and not really turning it on until late at night. And how I fill that space up is I do one of two things. I have times where I just go about my morning and prepare my morning in silence. And by doing so, I am helping my brain to process and get ready for the day. I am working through how I feel when I wake up in the morning, what I need to do, allowing myself the time to shift things, to shift my thoughts so I can really focus on where I need to be for the day. I also listen to my gospel music. I listen to my favorite gospel artists. Most of the time they are on repeat, and that is what fills up the empty silence in the room. And I take time to just relax, breathe through the process, praise God if I need to, cry if I need to, and really focus on just taking a breather. And it really helps me. It encourages me that everything will be okay. When I am focused on my mental and how I relax myself, I'm able to get so much more accomplished. However, sometimes I have challenges where I skip some pieces of that process. And if I do it too much, I hit a mental wall. So what I'm learning that one of the best things for me to do in dealing with this illness or just dealing with my everyday is really allowing myself the time to relax and breathe a little bit. That my mental is just as important as how I take care of my physical being and how I work out and how I focus on what I'm eating today, that my mental requires a lot. So just think about it, that, there are thousands of rare diseases today, and there's no cure for most of them. That when you hear someone say they have a rare disease or an autoimmune disorder, it's not just about the symptoms that you read on the internet or something a doctor tells you about. There's so much in the amount of fear that comes with understanding the whys behind it. Why did I get this illness? Why is it me? Who gave it to me? Where did it come from? How do I get rid of it? And we don't really know the answers to any of that stuff. I've learned that by motivating my mental a little bit, it isn't about the whys and the who. Because guess what? Even if I knew the answer to all of that, other than finding a cure, it's not going to help me if my mindset and my mental isn't focused on ways to be more positive and learning how to live with an illness and still having a life that is satisfying and fulfilling for me. So I encourage you, if you're listening to this, if you're sharing it with someone who you know that's battling a rare disease or battling a mental challenge or battling anything, we all need to focus on our mental. We all need to allow ourselves the opportunity to just relax. Because I know it isn't just having Behçet's disease that causes that black hole where I don't remember things or I can't connect the sentences. I know that a lot of it is because I need to allow myself the time to readjust and be authentically me. Is it scary? Yes, it is. Do I smack that mental wall sometimes? Yes, I do. Do I then have to remind myself to give myself grace and mercy? Yes. And sometimes others have to remind me. So I say that all to say and encourage you to please support those around you. Help us when we say we're searching for a cure. Even if your help is saying a small prayer, that I pray that this person has the ability and the strength to live a life that is normal and full of God's grace. That I pray that the healing hands are wrapped around this person so they understand that they are important and they are valued. Even if your prayer is a smile, it helps us. It helps us a lot. So this is my shout out to anyone who's dealing with an illness or they're impacted in any way and they are challenged with understanding how they'll get to the next place of comfort in life. There are times when I am your example that I can promise you that by replacing fear with prayer and having the faith of a mustard seed, you can accomplish so much more. That just saying a simple prayer of healing will relax your mind and your heart. I encourage you to place ingredients of positivity in what you do on a regular basis. And by doing so, you're reminding yourself that you are important, that you are authentic in so many ways. And through all things, you'll achieve the strength that is needed to get through each and every day. Thank you for listening. I look forward to continuing to share a little bit more of my journey living with Behçet's disease. Have a great day.